All right, and we're back. So, we finished up talking about the men's Survivor Series match, the tag teams champion versus champion, the mid-card champion versus champion, women's champion versus champion, 24/7 title changes. Now, we move on to the women's elimination match.
Yeah, and isn't it exciting how high in the card it is?
Yeah.
It's got some amount of story built around it we'll get into. But who are our participants, Jack?
So, the Raw team consists of Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax,
who are women's tag team champions currently.
Lacey Evans, Peyton Royce, and Lana.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Versus the SmackDown women's team of Natalya, Bayley,
right?
The Riot Squad, Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott,
right?
And Bianca Belair.
Correct.
Going into this, I just knew the Raw women's team was gonna win.
Did you?
Yeah, I just knew it, and it kind of hurt me because I was like, it kind of hurts because, like, granted, everyone involved is talented. Obviously, if they weren't, they wouldn't be on the show, and they wouldn't be with WWE. But it was like, it hurt me to see that the SmackDown team with, I guess you consider them the two vets in Natalya and Bayley, and then the three superstars, with a lot of upside and potential to them in Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Bianca Belair.
Right.
We're going to somehow find a way to lose to the Raw women's team.
Yeah, again, you, me, and your dad off the mic, we're talking about the, like the skill and experience gap between the Raw and SmackDown men's teams, right? Mm-hmm. You had so many former world champions on the Raw side, and you're absolutely right. You got the SmackDown. You got the women's tag team champions on one side of the ring, and you go, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Lacey Evans was challenging Becky all last summer.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine that was only a year ago? But you got some pretty formidable women on the Raw side. And Lana. One thing I heard people pontificate on YouTube was she was going to be the difference maker, obviously. You tell us why, Jack. But ultimately, she was either going to be the reason why Raw won, or she was going to be the reason why Raw lost. But why are all eyes, Jack, on Lana?
I'm trying to think how she got on the Raw team. I mean, this is because I don't, very much like you, I don't watch the weekly shows.
Right.
But, so, for those who don't know, for the past 9 weeks, which is about 2 months, we've seen Nia Jax, for some reason, be so angry with Lana that she puts her through the table each and every week on Raw. And yet, Lana finds a way to get onto the Raw women's team, despite having this rivalry with Jax.
Right.
And, they played it off when in a backstage segment, you see the SmackDown team coordinating, Bayley proclaimed herself as the leader, and, the rest agreed, just because they wanted to work together and be cohesive. Right. And then you see the Raw women's team, it's Baszler, Jax, Royce, and Evans talking, and Lana's off to the side. And the only thing you hear them say is Lana is not to be tagged in during the match.
Wild, right? This weird, cliquey relationship that these women have with Lana. It's weird and unwarranted and unexplained.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they're doing this. The reasoning, as much as people want to say, outside reasons are for what's happening with Lana, I get it. They're trying to get sympathy for her, week after week, seeing this happen. Because, I mean, we've all seen it, after, the first week or two, people are already saying, okay, isn't this enough? Why does it keep happening? Building that sympathy for Lana, trying to get her over as a babyface,
Right.
So I get why they're doing it. But at the same time, as I watched, the backstage segment where they were saying Lana wasn't to be tagged in, and when I saw Lana going at it with Natalya in the match, and you can tell from where she started, she's like improved, you know. And you know, that's the one thing I always give credit Lana to. You know, she may not be as good in the ring, on the mic, and all this other stuff like as others, you know, but she puts in the time to like improve, you know. So seeing that, and then seeing her get tagged out, and them forcing her to just stay on the steps on the outside, I was like, listen, I get it's all storyline, but at the same time, the one note I wrote down for this match, like the first note I wrote was in all caps, "Be a star."
Oh no. Yeah, you got a couple of real bullies in Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, the woman who's been putting Lana through that table for 9 consecutive weeks. Berate her, and like a child, these are grown women, Jack, but like a child, they tell her, stand here, don't move. That's real important to know that for the entire match, Lana is standing on the steps as she was instructed to do.
Yeah. So, like, to me, I saw it and I was just like, man, like, it's mean, but again, I see why they're doing it. And, you know, the main counter argument, you know, to the joke I made of be a star, you know, because that's a foundation WWE has to counteract bullying, you know. To counteract it, you know, the superstars themselves agree, you know, they're always informed about the storylines they're going to be going into, you know, so it's not it's not like this is just happening.
Surprise. Yeah. Lana's in on the take.
Yeah.
But what you got to wonder, Jack, at this stage is, you know, a good storyteller, right? Kids are watching this. They're watching Lana be berated. We got to wonder, will the villains get their comeuppance, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest reason any of us go along with any of this. Because we know how the story ends. Will Shayna and Nia get what's coming to them tonight?
Which is why I said this one was kind of predictable, because in my eyes, once I saw Lana made the team and I saw that, you know, she was continuing to be put through the table,
right?
I called this match predictable because I already knew Lana was going to end up being the sole survivor.
You know, it could have gone that way. She could have busted a Rollins, though, and I guess because Rollins did what he did, it was even more likely she wasn't. But I wouldn't put it past this company to have two stories simultaneously happen and tell the same tale, which is she easily could have walked out on those folks, you know? Yeah. In the time when they needed her the most, she could have said, nah, that's you guys, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So I was expecting neither.
But I that's why I thought it was kind of predictable, but I do think, you know, despite the way this match ended, which we'll get into as we get into more about different aspects of the match, I do think the slow build that they're doing is that Lana, she didn't cost them the Survivor Series match, because one of the things that we pointed out we didn't point out about why Survivor Series is flawed is why cost them this Survivor Series match when there's nothing really at stake?
Yeah.
I think with TLC coming up, I think we're going to either see the Riot Squad versus Baszler and Jax or in a tag team match, you know, just 2-on-2 in some type of like stipulation suiting the tables, ladders, and chairs pay-per-view, you know? Mm-hmm. Or, you know, they might still have that some type of stipulation with that and include Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, since they've kind of also seemed to be semi-feuding with Jackson Baszler. But if not, if they just do it like Riot Squad versus Jackson Baszler, I think they're saving Lana finally giving Jackson Baszler their comeuppance for TLC, where she finds a way to cost them the belts to the Riot Squad.
She obviously takes Nia Jax on her shoulders, and Samoa drops her into the announce table. Which is hilarious, folks listening to our audio podcast, if you knew the size difference between the two women.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? We were talking about Lana. We were talking about the slow build. Let's get into the match, Jack. How do you want to cover this?
Well, so after Lana gets all that in, then they finally tag in Royce. And Royce starts getting into it, I believe, with both Natalya and Bayley. And again, credit to the announce team, you know. One thing that's been common lately is like the announce team just seems to have more life and seems like it's not as serious, at least in my opinion. because at least with the duos that they did on this event, it really seemed like while they was still being serious about calling action in the ring, it was still a bit laid back. I don't know if you caught it, but at one point Peyton Royce has, I think it's Bailey, in like some type of submission in the ropes, and you hear Corey Graves say, "I'll give that a perfect 10."
I did not hear that.
Yeah, he says that, and for those of you who know, Peyton Royce is married to Shawn Spears, formerly known as Ty Dillinger in the WWE, who had a who his gimmick was all about the number 10, being perfect, 10 out of 10 and stuff. So he caught that.
He himself was the perfect 10.
Yeah. So I caught that.
I missed that entirely.
Yeah, so credit to the commentating team. I found that really funny, but very surprising to a lot of people was Royce got the elimination on Bailey.
She eliminated Natalia, right?
She got Bailey.
Bailey was the one the first to go?
Yeah, Bailey was the first to go.
You're right, yes, and that was very surprising. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was very surprising. It kind of gives more momentum to Peyton. She then gets eliminated by Natalia. Man, I'm trying to remember the rest.
Yeah, Natalia definitely is the next one to go. And I thought, man, that'd be even bigger if Peyton Royce defeated the two most veteran women on that team. But I think that was somebody else.
Yeah, I think Lacey might have gotten the elimination on Natalia.
Yes, I think she knocked her out of the woman's right.
Yeah, and then there was also a moment where Lacey and it was either Ruby Riott or Belair. They did that Spanish fly off the top rope.
It was Ruby Riott, and this is when the few times throughout the night that my brother reacted with what the heck was that?
Oh man, if that's how he reacted to those two women doing the Spanish fly, I wonder how he would react if you showed him the Spanish fly Dijakovic and Lee did back at Portland.
Oh, geez, Louise, just for the fact that they're as giant as it's like two dresser drawers jumping off the top rope, or it's like a refrigerator, and and like a small pickup truck.
Yeah, but so then I believe Lacey gets eliminated, which leaves it to Belair and the Riot Squad versus Jackson Baszler and Lana, who's still on the steps at this point.
Right.
And so you get Ruby gets eliminated by Shayna. Yeah,
what's interesting about this, Jack, and a reminder, because you need to be reminded of how long 2020's been, Jack. It was neat to see Ruby and Liv go toe-to-toe with Shayna, here in this match, when both could not be eliminated faster in February by the same person.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that Elimination Chamber Women's number one contenders match that Shayna decimated? It was nice that we got a more competitive affair last night.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was this year, Jack. That was February. That was 8 months ago.
And, despite that being so far away, at the same time, you still feel the lasting effects, because if I'm being honest, despite even the draft happening and people switching sides, the Raw Women's Division still hasn't recovered from them letting Shayna run wild on them in that Elimination Chamber.
Not really. And what's worse is like they keep putting women in these weird nonsense tag teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to keep pairing people up.
Yeah.
Why not build these single stars? Peyton Royce came out looking real sharp at last night.
Yeah.
They broke her up from Billie Kay. Let's make that worth it. We want that breakup to have been justified.
Yeah. And it's funny because, people were saying that, they expected Peyton to be the one getting a lot of shine. And, as we've seen with a lot of tag teams that get broken up, they expected...
Yeah.
They expected Billie Kay not to shine, but I've been seeing Billie Kay more on SmackDown than I've seen Royce on Raw.
Interesting. And with a lot of character work, right?
Yeah.
Backstage stuff, because she's so funny.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's good. I need to look up those YouTube clips.
Yeah. And then Liv gets eliminated by Jax. And, you know, I get it. Jax is a powerhouse in the women's division. But, like, to me, it also kind of irked me. Like, I get it. Again, she's the power. She can take a lot of hits. And especially compared to the